Thank you, and good morning, Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Finance. This morning, we learned from the Financial Accountability Office that the government's debt reduction claims are $6.5 billion off the mark. The FAO said that's equal to eliminating funding for 40% of Ontario's hospitals, to put it in perspective. They painted a bleak and stark long-term budget outlook for Ontario. Meanwhile, the government continues to insist they're on track, even though they have used the same data the Financial Accountability Officer used. The FAO clearly stated, quote, "Without an adjustment to Ontario's fiscal policy, we will see increasing budget deficits and higher levels of debt. The people of Ontario clearly cannot trust anything this government says." Speaker, will the minister come clean about their debt claims and tell us what they plan to do to address these new concerns?
Thank you. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the work done by the FAO in regards to looking long-term in terms of the demographic and challenges that not only Ontario, he makes reference to the fact that all OECD countries everywhere around the world are going to be facing these challenges. We too came out with a long-term report last year recognizing these very issues. The FAO rightly states that we have to take measures and have to address these long-term challenges. And exactly what it is that we're doing in our budgets today. We are looking long-term in terms of the programs we put in place to support health care, to support education. In fact, universal health care that's been expanded to youth under 25 is part of that. The work that we're doing with pension reform is part of that, both of which, that side of the House, have actually declined not to do, Mr. Speaker. We need to support these very measures. We need to manage our fiscal house. That's why we're balancing the books this year, next year, and the year after that.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Back to the minister. The FAO confirmed again this morning that their so-called balance is all with the one-time asset sales and other one-time revenue, Speaker. But here's why what the Financial Accountability Officer said today matters to families. The FAO says not meeting the debt targets means there will be, quote, less fiscal room for spending on government priorities such as health and education. The FAO also said that Ontario is less able to respond to unforeseen events such as the next recession. Perhaps worst of all, the FAO says continuing on this course will unfairly shift the fiscal burden from baby boomers to younger Ontarians. Speaker, this week, 2 independent officers of the legislature have disputed the Liberals' numbers. How can families ever trust anything this government says again?
Mr. Speaker, we came into office recognizing that the recession had hit us hard, recognizing that the Conservative government federally doubled their debt, had the highest deficit in Canada's history under their watch, and we at this side of the House also recognize those challenges. It is why we stimulated growth, invested heavily in infrastructure to build our economy and support the people of Ontario. Today, we're outpacing Canada and the G7 countries. Today, we have the lowest unemployment in 17 years. Today, 730,000 net new jobs have come to the province. And, Mr. Speaker, today, we are continuing to invest long-term to address the very challenges that the FAO has rightly cited, one that we accept and we are taking every step to manage going forward. And we are balancing, Mr. Speaker. We're balancing the books this year. We're balancing the books next year and the year after that, and those members have voted against those measures.
Just a little reminder, we're in warnings. New question, the member from Toronto Danforth.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, again to the Premier.